Welcome, guys, to the live webinar. Finally got it working. Facebook took forever. But yeah, here we are, guys. How to lose 10 kilograms before Christmas. So this is the big webinar that I've been looking to get going for a little while now, and I'm super happy to finally be bringing it to you. It's been a little bit of a struggle to get things working, obviously, and it's taken me 16 minutes to finally get Facebook to wake up. Had to clear the cookies and get everything done. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's something saying, hey, clear your cookies, stop eating cookies before Christmas. I don't know. But here we are, guys. So how to lose 10 kilograms before Christmas. The simple 5-step plan that anyone can follow to get there, even if you failed before. So, I guess where to start. The best place to start, I think, is for me to tell you a little bit about who I am, where I've come from, what my background is, and then we'll jump into it. So if you don't know me, if you are just jumping in for the first time, my name is Shane Werthner, and I am a personal trainer, and I used to be a professional ballet dancer. So I danced professionally for 12 years all around the world with the Vienna State Opera, San Francisco Ballet, Queensland Ballet. And in 2017, my knees got to the point where I couldn't dance anymore. I had to retire. And I thought, you know what? I need to coach people. I need to help people. I have a calling to support people on their journey. And that's what I decided to do. So here I am supporting you guys, helping you guys, coming to you and giving you as much value as possible. How to lose 10 kilograms before Christmas, right? So as you can see, there are some lovely pictures of me doing some ballet there, as well as my most recent transformation through the 75 hard process. I know a few of you watching are probably doing 75 hard along with me. If you're not, you should be. It's awesome. It's tough, but it changes your life. All right. Now, I've had a lot of successes very quickly within the fitness industry, and a lot of people have had their lives changed in the process of working with me. And I think one of the biggest things that I hear a lot of people struggle with is that they'll get into a process and they won't see success. They won't see that change happen very quickly. If you guys can hear me and you're jumping on, just type in, say, I can hear you. Let me know where you're coming in from. Lucia, I can see that you've just jumped on. Great to have you on here. Let me know what's going on, guys. Let me know what you can hear, what you can't hear. But yeah, so I had a lot of successes very quickly, and as you can see here, I'm sure Stacy is watching. Maybe she can see herself on the picture on the frame there. But I've had some people who've had really amazing results in a very short period of time. So a couple of these guys have had amazing results. So like you look at this guy up here in the corner. He came to me and had a lot of health issues, couldn't get started immediately. He's 68 years old, and within 2 weeks of starting to work with me, he was starting to do like 15-kilometer forest walks, just working out every day, eating really good foods. His mindset picked up. He had depression and it went away, and life just really changed for him. You've got a couple of guys over here, Anthony and Alan. Both of them saw amazing results really quickly as well. Anthony lost, I think, like 10 kilos in 6 weeks. Alan lost 5 kilos in 6 weeks. Stacy has lost, I think, 12 kilos now in about 12 weeks. Is it 12 weeks? Maybe 10 weeks. She's lost an amazing amount of weight, and she's seen some incredible results, not just physically, but mindset and overall life energy. It's changed, right? So change is possible. If you're watching this, you're thinking, how do I do it? What do I need to do? Let's dive into it, right? How do I get those results? How do I see 10 kilos drift off of my body in the next 7 weeks, right? We've got 7 weeks until Christmas. It's crazy, 7 weeks. At 8 weeks until the new year, which means that we're 8 weeks out from a new decade. Like, how crazy is that, guys? If you're excited for the new decade and what that's about to bring, let me know, guys. How excited are you to take on new challenges, to change your life, to become more energetic, more confident, more secure in who you are, more ready to exercise and live a healthy life? If that's you, let me know. Like, comment right now. Let me know what's going on, guys. Let me know where you're at. mentally and physically, and what your plans are, right? So what are the 5 things? What are the 5 biggest struggles that everyone seems to have? Right? We've got fitness, right? Some people struggle with fitness. Not everyone is ready to take on a new workout program. Some people feel like they don't have time, don't have the energy, don't have the money to go to a gym. And then you've got nutrition, right? So people don't really know what to eat. There's a lot of mixed messages as to what you should be eating, when you should be eating. Should you be eating more vegetables, more carbs, more protein? Should you be eating fish or red meat or white meat? Like what do we do, right? What's going on? What's the value here, right? Richard says, I'm moving into a new decade with a new mindset and a healthy body. So excited for what is to come. Absolutely, guys. Who else is excited? Who's like Richard and really wants to change, right? That's what we're here for, right? I know people have struggles. I know people are struggling with fitness. I know people are struggling with nutrition. I know that maybe your environment's not right. Maybe you're struggling to handle, your home life. Maybe your social life isn't what you want it to be. Maybe, you'd love to be going out more. Maybe you actually need to be staying in more. Maybe the mindset just isn't where you want it to be, and maybe you just don't know how to get started, right? So these are all things that could be holding you back, that you could be struggling with, that are probably stopping you from getting where you want to get to. And I think it's important to recognize here that I'm not just working on fitness and nutrition, right? Because if you're looking at 2 things, you as a human being watching this right now, you are so much more than the exercise that you do and the food that you eat, right? You're affected by what when you wake up in the morning. You're affected by the people that you interact with. You're affected by your home environment. So if your home is a mess and you're someone who gets stressed out by that, that could be actually causing you to have too much stress that's putting on weight. You're handling that stress in a way. And weight, guys, weight is not, it's not the issue here, right? There are things that are causing you to have that weight gain that are not being addressed, right? So the weight actually is the symptom of what your life is looking like. So if you are having an appearance that you're unhappy with, if you're dealing with extra weight, if you're dealing with lack of energy, if you're dealing with all of these things, then it's not because of the weight that you have on. The weight is actually a result of all of the other stuff that you're dealing with. Okay, so let's dive into this, guys. Who's ready? Who's excited? Who's ready to look at these 5 things and take them on and realize what it is that's going on in their lives? Maybe get some guidelines. I've got some guidelines that will help you as well. But also just kind of get some structure around what is going to take you into that new process, what's going to get you to lose those 10 kilos, and what's going to move you forward into the new year. Okay. So with fitness, the question is always, what is best for weight loss? Now, I know a lot of people will say, is it, high intensity training? Do we need to be doing hours and hours of cardio? Do we need to be doing strength training? Is putting more muscle on going to cause you to lose body fat? Like what's the best way to train, right? What do we need to do? The easy answer is all of it. The hard answer is that not everybody needs to do all of it, right? So there are going to be people who are going to do better with high intensity interval training. There's going to be people who do better with strength training. There's going to be people who do better with interval based cardio versus low intensity steady state cardio, right? And I think what's really important to recognize here is that if you look at the fitness industry and you look at what's going on all across the world with the hundreds of different programs, hundreds of different setups and challenges and gyms and things that are advertising what you should be doing to get your results, it's because everything works for the right person, right? So you could do high intensity interval training for the next 3 years, but if it's not right for your body, then it's not going to get you the results that you want. You could be doing strength training every year, every day, pushing yourself, doing 5x5 super heavy lifts. But if you have a body that isn't built for that, you're not going to get the results that you want, right? So these are all things that are super important to recognize, is that everybody is different and everybody has a different path to success, right? Not everybody needs to do high intensity interval training. Not everybody needs to do strength training. Not everybody needs to run on the treadmill for 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours, right? What we need to figure out is what's going to be right for you. Tony, thanks for jumping in. Marie Claire, thanks for all the love. Debbie, Lucia, thanks for jumping on, guys. So what are the guidelines? What are the guidelines for fitness, right? Generally, we're looking at an exercise for at least a minimum of 30 minutes a day. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that you're doing enough movement, specific movement, to outside of just walking on the street, your 10,000 steps, movement throughout the day, walking from your chair to the kitchen, walking back to the chair, sitting down, that kind of thing, right? We're trying to get away from just the non-exercise activity, right? So exercise is something where you're going with intent, you're putting out an effort that's going to be greater than if you were just walking down the street, and you're doing that for a minimum of 30 minutes a day. Now, preferably, we want that to be for an hour. And the reason for that is because there have been studies done that have shown that an hour of exercise is much harder for the body to make up calorie-wise. So it's a lot more difficult for your body to to go in there and say, you know what, I'm going to maybe take a little bit more of a rest or eat a little bit more food, right? These are things that can stop the caloric formula. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, generally what we're looking at when we're looking at weight loss, and this is a very simplistic way to look at it, but when we're looking at weight loss, simply taking the amount of calories that you are outputting and looking at that in relationship to the calories that you're taking in through food, we want that relationship to be in such a way that the calorie output is greater than the calorie intake, right? And so resting time, when you're sitting down on the couch, when you're sleeping, when you're taking a nap, when you're not active, your body is not expelling as much calories either. So it's actually possible for you to exercise a lot, and then have a greater amount of rest, eat a lot more food, and still not lose weight because you are not in that calorie deficit. Now, obviously, calorie deficit is not the only thing that we look at, and there's a lot more to it, but we'll get into that in a minute. All right. Now, you want to utilize a combination of resistance and strength training to enhance your muscle capacity for your body, right? The more muscle you have, the more that you will burn fat. Now, it isn't obviously that simple because just putting on muscle doesn't mean that you're going to lose fat necessarily. It's all in combination, right? So the amount of calories that you're outputting, the amount of muscle that you're having on your body, the more muscle that you have, the more energy that it takes to run your body, which means that you're going to have a higher energy expenditure, which means that it's going to take more calories to maintain your body weight, right? So when we're looking at all this, we're looking at ways to get your calorie output higher. Okay, so we're exercising for longer, doing more strength training, and then looking at low intensity steady state cardio. Okay, I know that this is going to be a little bit controversial. Not everybody agrees that low intensity steady state is the best thing. But what I have found with people who generally tend to hold higher amounts of body fat, they generally have larger joints, and their bodies are not designed for high intensity interval training. How many of you guys, if you are holding on a little bit more weight, a little bit larger, struggle with high intensity training? If you do, let me know in the comments, because what I've found is that when I've taken clients through high intensity interval training, if they're a heavier weight, that they actually really struggle with that, and their joints hurt, and their body isn't comfortable, and they don't feel like they're enjoying the process. Whereas when you take them through a more heavy strength training process, they actually enjoy it more. And there's even been studies done that show that people who have higher amounts of body fat, larger joints, have that predisposition to putting on body fat easily. They're the type of people who also do really well with strength training. And also doing that strength training has the capacity to enhance their conditioning as well. So utilizing low intensity steady state cardio, what that does is it puts you into a heart rate range that's going to keep your body moving over a long period of time, keeps you in that heart rate range, allows your body to burn calories for a longer period of time, but also isn't going to push your joints and your ligaments to the point that you're struggling and suffering through that process. All right. If you guys are enjoying this and you're getting something out of it, let me know. Comment in the post. There's a lot of information still to get through, so I'm happy to elaborate. If you have any questions, let me know what's going on. Otherwise, let's keep going. Here we go. So nutrition. there are so many diet options on the planet, right? Just like with fitness, we've got 100 different things that seem to pop up as to what is going to be the next best thing to lose weight, right? Paleo was big for a long time with CrossFit. You know, I know that was their big thing. Keto is really big right now, and I think for the right people, anything can work, right? For people who are more athletic, who really enjoy kind of that higher intensity training, who have a lot more muscle on their body naturally, paleo is probably going to be really good because of the high protein content of the diet, right? You go more into keto, that's going to work better for people who maybe need to have a higher fat content in their diet, right? You go more vegetarian, we're starting to look at things where you know, there are going to be certain people whose digestive systems do not work as well with proteins, and they actually need to have a more leafy green vegetable diet, and working more towards a vegetarian option, and even looking at timings of food. So it's not even so simple as just saying eat this, right? It actually can come down to, are you eating the right foods at the right time of the day? What is your body saying about when it should be taking in proteins, when it should be taking in fats, when it should be taking in carbohydrates, right? Lucia says, I've just gone vegetarian and it works a charm. Absolutely. And you know, for some people that's going to be fantastic. You know, looking at my body specifically, I have a very long, thin body. I'm very nervous system dominant. And that means that I need to have a lot of carbohydrates in order to function through the day. In fact, carbohydrates don't put as much weight on my body, but for some people, having a lot of carbohydrates throughout the day is not going to work for them. It's not going to help them, right? So there's a lot of diets. And I think the biggest thing that comes up with food is that people struggle with time. They don't know how to prepare food. They don't take the time to prep and get themselves ready, right? So what are some guidelines that we can do with this? One of the things that I've noticed, especially with people who are struggling to lose weight and who are looking to lose up to 10 kilos, because not everybody is, right? Not everybody's at that point. Not everybody needs to lose 10 kilos. But for the people that do have that amount of extra weight on them and they're really struggling to get to that point, I've found that utilizing intermittent fasting is a great way to go. So there's this process that happens in the morning to wake us up, in that we have this massive cortisol spike. And that kind of jolts us out of bed. It gets us ready to go in the morning, pushes us to move, right? What happens when that cortisol spike comes in is that we also have an insulin spike. Now, if you're insulin sensitive, what's going to happen is as soon as you put sugar or carbohydrates into your body's going to store that sugar and those carbs as fat. Okay, so utilizing intermittent fasting in the morning, not putting a lot of food into your body when it's still just slowly getting ready to digest, slowly getting ready to move into the day, is actually going to help with fat loss, because you're not in a state of retaining, you're not in a state of holding on to that food as a storage. You actually end up using it as energy because you're using the right types of foods. So staying away from things like carbohydrates, sweet, sugary foods, and even some proteins, depending on how quickly your body can digest them. Okay. Now, eating a diet rich in green leafy vegetables is super important because of the amount of micronutrients in the food. So when we're looking at foods, there's this thing that, you know, you look at a piece of bread and you look at a piece of broccoli, potentially they could have the same calorie content depending on how much you're eating of each, but one is going to be super dense with nutrients and the other is not. It's empty food, right? And so the bread is going to fill you up a lot faster. It's going to take you longer to fill up on broccoli, but if you eat a lot of broccoli equal to the bread, as far as calories are concerned, you're actually going to be in a much more nutrient-dense diet. Okay, so nutrients are super important, and I think it's what we're trying to look at when we're looking at foods overall, and serving our bodies and preparing our bodies for high levels of success. We want to have as much nutrients as possible. So I know I've talked a little bit about timing already, but each body and each person has a very individual chronobiology. So what we're talking about here is that there are going to be very specific times as to when you should eat foods, when you should drink, what time you should drink, what kinds of things you should drink, when you should eat carbohydrates, whether you should eat carbohydrates together with protein, whether you should eat vegetables together with protein, whether protein should be in the middle of the day, at the end of the day, or all throughout the day. And each person has a different chronobiology and a different process with that. And there are actually ways to figure out what that is. And I do use this coaching process when I work with people, with clients on an individual basis, to help them to figure out exactly what foods are going to be right for them, when to eat them, and what the best foods are. Okay, so if you are having any questions, do reach out to me. And even comment in the post and say, hey, what do you think would be best for me? I'll send you a couple of links that you can look at, that you can have a check and see what kind of foods are going to be best for you, what timings are going to be best for you, and that will definitely help with, number one, giving you more energy. Number two, supporting your body the way it naturally wants to be supported, not the way that society tells you to eat. And number three, it will actually make you feel better. All right. Who's loving this, guys? Who wants more? Who's enjoying it? Is it good? Enjoying it? Let me know, guys. Let me know. All right. So we've come to the point that this all gets really complicated. Okay. So fitness, you can go, you can exercise, you can do the things you need to do. As long as you're doing 30 minutes to an hour, you're in a good place, right? Nutrition, as long as you're eating the foods that are right for you and you're eating them in the right time, you're doing well. Okay. Now, the challenging thing here, guys, the challenging thing for everybody is all of the stuff that they can't necessarily control. We can control our food, we can control our fitness. We can't necessarily control our environment. We can't necessarily control our social lives. And we can't necessarily control the way that interactions happen throughout the day, okay? Everybody is different, right? And this is something that I need to keep stressing because I think it's so important. There is no one size fits all cookie cutter program that you can give to every single person and get a result. It's why so many people go in, do a program for 6 weeks, and you'll have the one guy that gets super fit, and then the 23 people that don't get fit at all, or maybe even end up worse off than when they started. All right, everybody is different. Everybody's got different stories, different backgrounds, different places that they're coming from. And I think it's important, actually. I want to tell you guys a story about a client of mine. Her name was Shelly. She started working with me when I was very new to the fitness industry, and I was working with her on kind of, it was a very difficult program, a lot of work. We were working for an hour 3 times a week, getting her to lift very heavy weights, stuff that she was probably not ready to be doing yet. A little bit high intensity for her body type. And I went in, I studied this program on how to identify exactly what's going to be right for each person. And I got her into the system, and I did measurements on her, and we went through this whole health questionnaire. And we discovered that there were some things going on in her social life and her family life that were actually causing a lot of stress. And so as a teacher, she was in a work environment where people were stopping her from being able to take care of her students, who she also viewed as family. Her grandmother was sick and lived up on the Sunshine Coast, so she wasn't getting to visit her grandmother as often as she would have liked to. She wasn't getting the family time that she wanted to be having. And so in doing that, she was compensating for the lack of social and family environment that she wanted to be having with unhealthy things, chocolate, sugar, alcohol, things that weren't supporting her body. But she was depressed without really realizing it, or upset without realizing it. And as a result, the things that were supporting her and raising her levels of serotonin were causing her to be unhealthy. Okay. So what I did with her was I actually sent her home on the holidays to spend time with her family. And she did a detox, where with this detox for her body type, the process was that she had a lot of soups, a lot of juices, not much solid food. Okay. So for about 5 days, she didn't have any solid food. She spent the week with family, just enjoying their company, really taking the time, not having any work stress. And the amazing thing was, she sent me this picture when I think I was driving somewhere. She sent me a picture. I looked down at it, and she had lost 7.5 kilos in 5 days just by being in the right environment, eating the right foods for herself, not even training. She didn't train for those 5 days. She lost 7.5 kilos. Okay. Now, generally that's not a weight loss result that we're looking for. We don't want to lose weight that quickly. But the amazing thing was that for her, she actually kept the weight off. It's not like she lost the 7.5 kilos and then went back up again. She actually continued to go down because she realized at that point that eating a more vegetarian diet, taking more time with family, not having a lot of food in the morning, and just kind of gently moving into the day was actually going to be right for her, right? So a lot of when we look at this stuff, we're actually looking at the dominant neurotransmitters of the body and how each mind works differently, right? So there are going to be body types who are more serotonin sensitive. There are going to be body types who actually function really well with adrenaline. There are going to be people who need to have more dopamine. And then there are going to be the ones who are more oxytocin based, more prolactin based, right? So we're looking at all of these different dominant neurotransmitters and saying, okay, well, knowing that, for example, someone who is more prolactin based is going to be more caring, more family oriented, we actually know that their priority in coaching and helping that person is going to be making sure that their family life is good, that family isn't stressed out, that they can make themselves strong for their family. So strength training is really important. Also making sure that the food that they're eating is not overwhelming their digestive system, taking it very slowly throughout the day, and just making sure that everything is enjoyable, right? We look at someone who's more dopamine or more adrenaline based, and they're going to actually need more food throughout the day because their body is running at a much higher state of energy. And then we start looking at the kind of in-betweens and people who, for example, the really thin body types that have more of a noradrenaline where everything is kind of a challenge to their body, very much a threat, right? And they're going to need a lot of foods that support them throughout the day, but not large portions. So kind of small meals throughout the day, right? And so each person is going to be very different. And knowing this, knowing the way that all of these things happen, we can actually look at a person and say, okay, well, I can see the way that your body is developed. I can see based on these tests that we've done, what your priorities are, and I can say, okay, well, I know from the science that if you have a more vegetarian diet, you wait a little bit longer in the morning to start eating, you make sure that carbs and proteins are never really put together. If we do this right, and we get your timing right, and we get your exercise right, and we get your mindset and your social life and your environment right, that all of the things that your body naturally wants to do will start to fit in, and things will work the way that they're supposed to, right? So, stress is the major factor here, okay? And when we talk about weight and we talk about weight loss, we talk about weight gain, generally it's going to be related to some sort of stress. And one of the questions I always ask is, do you gain weight or lose weight when under stress? And so people who generally gain weight under stress are the ones who are going to struggle with losing weight overall, right? Because any stresses that come to their body, any stresses that come to their mind are probably losing, they're lowering the serotonin levels in the body. And so what happens when your serotonin levels drop is that you become very ruminant, you become very quiet and reserved. You don't really want to put yourself out there. And the foods that make your serotonin and dopamine go up actually become a priority for you. So things like sugar, chocolate, anything that's going to make you feel better is actually going to be something that you're going to be drawn to. Okay. So looking at these things, stress is one of the major factors of weight. Okay. So when we're looking at weight and we're saying, okay, well, this person is overweight or obese, we actually need to figure out what the underlying issue is, right? And I wrote a blog about this the other day because I think it's very important. What tends to happen is that a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, you know what, I want to lose 8 kilos in the next 6 weeks, or I want to lose 10 kilos in the next 10 weeks. And it's my job as a coach to get in and say, okay, well, what are the underlying issues that are causing you to not be able to be at a healthy weight? Are you eating too much food? Are you eating food at the wrong time? Are you eating the wrong foods? What kind of exercise are you doing? What's your social environment like? What's your family life like? It's a much more complicated process, and it's not just as simple as saying, you know what, do this exercise program, eat this food, and go, and you'll be great in 6 weeks. Because you can have the right food, you can have the right exercise, but then the mindset's in the wrong place, or the environment's not right, or the social life is causing stress, and they're going home at night after doing the exercise, and they're maybe eating a little extra sugar, or on the weekends they're sleeping the entire weekend because they're so depressed and they don't want to leave the house. And so all of the calorie output that they've done over the week is then unbalanced by that extra rest or that extra food or the food that's not supporting them, right? So stress can be caused by many things, right? It can be caused by your surroundings, it can be caused by people in your life, mindset, work environment. So for example, looking at what you're best at. If you're a really visual person and you love to work on patterns and pictures and figuring out how things fit together visually, but you're in a job where you're working with writing things down and talking to people, your work is actually not serving you. And if work is a priority for you and work is something that you're going to every day and you're hating it, what do you think is going to happen when you come home? You're not going to want to exercise. You're not going to want to eat the right foods. And you're actually going to go to bed upset and probably eat a lot of sugar and things that aren't right for you. Same thing if you are a visual person and you're doing a lot of writing, a lot of auditory things, right? Or if you are a kinesthetic learner and you're doing a lot of visual things, right? So there's ways to look at your work environment that could be causing problems. There's ways to look at your home environment. So if you're someone who likes a lot of tidy settings and you live with someone who doesn't like to put things away, that can cause stress, which can then lead you to wanting to eat foods that don't support your goals, or the fact that you then have to go and clean up after somebody can cause you to struggle with having the time to exercise, right? So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle in each individual, and I think what's so important here is that we are able to go past the superficial of, oh, I want to lose 10 kilos, and really dive into what is it that's causing you to be overweight, because the weight is actually a symptom of all of the other things in life that aren't right for you. All right. So each of us handles stress differently. Each of us has the ability to overcome that stress. And I think with the right coach, with the right support, we can identify what those factors are, and I can help you to get there. Okay. So where are we going from here? What's the next step, right? What's the next process? There's 7 weeks until Christmas, guys. 7 weeks at 1 to 2 kilos a week. 10 kilograms is definitely doable. So you look, even if you lose, let's say you set a goal for Christmas of 10 kilos, you lose 7 kilos. Are you really going to be upset over those extra 3 kilos that you didn't get by Christmas? Is it really going to be the end of the world? Or are you going to be like, you know what, I feel awesome because I've lost 7 kilos. I think anyone who loses 7 kilos in the next 7 weeks is probably going to see a massive change, not only in their physical appearance, but in their energy and their mindset. And I think in everything that they do in life. So you have to keep in mind that all of these things actually support you. They support your work. They support your home life. They support your family life, because how awesome would it be for you to be able to have more energy and more ability to run around with your kids? How excellent would it be to walk into work and someone says, oh my God, you look fantastic. And then they have that mindset of, you know what, that person looks amazing. They're obviously taking care of themselves. They've got a lot more confidence. The confidence translates to better work environment, and you start to get promotions, right? So changes, guys, changes in your mindset, changes in your stress levels, changes in your exercise and nutrition can actually affect all aspects of your life, which is why it's so essential to get that process rolling and moving forward, right? I've seen people do it. I've seen people make these changes. I've seen people go from depressed and not wanting to move and not knowing how to get out of bed in the morning to coming forward and saying, "Oh my God, I can do everything. I can go for long walks. I can spend more time with my kids." Victor, the amazing 68-year-old man that I worked with, actually said to me a little while back that he would go over and play with his 3-year-old granddaughter, and initially, like, he couldn't even get down on the floor to play with her. And towards the end of our time working together, he was actually tiring her out. And if any of you guys have a 3-year-old, you know how hard that is to do. So how amazing would it be for you to play with your kids, your grandkids, and be able to spend more amazing time with your family, right? It is possible. I've seen it happen. Okay. Richard says, I was being called the shrinking man at work while dropping the weight recently. And that's the thing. Like it can happen very quickly, and it can work rapidly. I think Richard's lost something like 27 kilos since the beginning of the year. So well done to you, Richard. Amazing work. Very impressive. All right. Any questions so far, guys? Any things that you would like to know a little bit more about? Let me know. I'm going to be wrapping it up shortly. But essentially, you know, we want to get that Santa belly off, right? We want to get things moving forward, and we want to do it in such a way that we heal you as a whole person. We're not just trying to lose the weight. We're not just trying to improve your fitness. We're not just trying to improve your nutrition. We're actually trying to heal you as a person, take away all of the things that you're struggling with, and move you in a forward direction to success and happiness and confidence, and feeling good about who you are, and feeling like you're in the right state, right? Feeling like you can go out and take on anything, feeling like you can go out and be the person that you're meant to be, not the person that society wants you to be, or your family wants you to be, or the picture on the TV wants you to be, right? So how can I support you, right? How can what I do support you in this process? And there's a few things that are coming up that I think will help a lot. The first one that I want to talk about is the free 30-day keto challenge. So this is actually a challenge that I'm running with my business coach and 40 other amazing people who are part of this process. It's going to be launching on the 18th of November now, I believe. So we've got a couple weeks to go with that. If you guys are interested in jumping onto that challenge, let me know. I'll get you involved in that. I can send you out an invite, or I'll probably post a link on this video as well. Would love to get as many people as possible on that, because look, as much as keto isn't necessarily right for everybody, I have seen a lot of people do really well with keto and ketones. Okay, so what are ketones, right? What are ketones? When the body is in a state of ketosis, it actually produces ketones, and ketones are these amazing little chemicals in the body that actually go and burn fat. So they utilize your fat stores as energy. Okay. Let's see Richard's on the challenge. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a lot of people in there. We're going to play games. We're going to have prizes and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think, you know, the more people that get on there and support each other. So that's the other thing, guys. Anytime that you are looking to make a change, you need to have a support team. You need to have people behind you that, number one, are keeping you accountable. Number two, are giving you the strategies for success. And number three, are you know, around you also doing the same thing. So people who are maybe part of a community that can help you to stay on track when things get tough. Okay. The second thing I wanted to talk about tonight is the 10-day ketone challenge. So ketones are amazing. Ketones, you know, I take ketones on a daily basis, even though I don't really need to lose weight, because I like the energy that it gives me. So in addition to the carbohydrates that I still eat, ketones are another amazing source of energy. And in the high-paced job of being a personal trainer, where you're constantly having to have a lot of energy and feel good and you know, be upbeat, ketones have definitely helped me. So if you guys are looking for a kind of a support, a supplement support to help you to lose weight, to have more mental clarity, to have more energy, definitely let's get you onto a 10-day ketone challenge. It is amazing. And this challenge starter pack, I think it's got like all the different flavors in it. It's got electrolyte support as well, to make sure that your electrolytes are staying balanced. And there's an entire support community as well to help you through the process. Okay. Now, if you guys have enjoyed this, I do want to give you all some free stuff, because everybody loves free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff? If you don't love free stuff, you can leave the webinar right now. If you do love free stuff, here's what I want to do. Okay, Santa's gifts for you guys. All right, because we've got 7 weeks until Christmas. I want to make sure that you get what you are trying to achieve. I want to support you in this process. And so what I'm going to do, I've got 2 recipe books that I want to get out to you to help you with nutrition. And I also want to offer everybody on this webinar 2 free online coaching sessions. So my coaching, guys, and I think a few people maybe could tell you, my coaching is not just about giving you fitness plans and nutrition plans and saying, go do it. My coaching is a lot about figuring out what's underneath it all. What's holding you back? What are you struggling with? How can we figure out how to move you past the things that have stopped you in the past, right? Lucia has seen some amazing results. Lucia has lost weight when she didn't even believe, when we first talked together, Lucia didn't even think that she was going to be successful in that. So she's doing really well. And I know that all of you guys can do really well too. So if you're wanting to get started, I'll post all of these links in the chat as well, and you can take what you want. But I definitely suggest jumping in and getting those two free coaching sessions. And if you want some recipes, who doesn't love good recipes? Jump in and get the keto recipes and the fat burning recipes, because they are really, really good. So guys, if you don't have any questions, that's it for tonight. I hope that you have seen some things that you like that will support you in this process. I know that if you take this on right now, you make a decision to go all in, to take this on, and know that you can do it. Know that you can get to that point. You just have to find the right path. And if you're looking for help and you don't know how to do it, I'm here to support you guys. All right, that's what this is all about. It's all about helping. I really want to help as many people as possible to get to their ideal weight. And really what this is about for me is helping people move into the next decade, feeling confident, feeling energetic, and feeling supported in the process. Okay, so look, if you've enjoyed this, please share it with anyone that you think would get something out of it. If you feel like you've gotten some good value, guys, let me know. Reach out to me. Let me know what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, and thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks, guys, and have a great evening.